Good afternoon. How's everyone doing? So we have been hired to be the layup for the ending keynote of Affiliate Summit West 2010. And the panel that Sean and Missy put together here is truly outstanding. And this is a really unique panel for Affiliate Summit. I've been doing Affiliate Summit now for about 5 years. But this is the first panel that I think bridges two important things, that whether or not you're interested in raising capital for your business, or whether or not you're interested in eventually selling your business, each of the panelists here have raised considerable amounts of money. One of the panelists, almost $18 million for his startup. The others in the millions. But these are also individuals that have subject matter expertise within the affiliate space. So this panel is on new developments in automated monetization. It's a bit sophisticated, if you will, and each of the panelists will share more about what it is that they do. But as you guys know, there's a ton of innovation going on right now in the affiliate space. You know, from the beginning of the affiliate marketing industry in the late 90s, what was and has still been called the traditional affiliate marketing space has now turned into something that's much different, where Silicon Valley is now involved making investments. A company I founded way back in those early days, a company called PepperJam, was acquired in 2009 by a publicly traded company. So there's a lot of action going on. And so I'm hoping that today's panelists will give you a perspective from the inside of that action. But we're going to talk about their core technologies, and we're also going to talk about the broader conversation of traffic monetization, using affiliate techniques as well as others. As I mentioned, my former company, PepperJam, I founded in 1999. I sold it in 2009 to GSI Commerce. I've been in this space as well as the interactive marketing space for several years. PepperJam was an interactive marketing company and an affiliate network called PepperJam Network. I've been speaking at shows. I'm an author. I wrote 2 books on search engine optimization called SEO Visual Blueprint by Wiley Publishing. And I'm really active in the community because I really care about its future. And I've been afforded many great opportunities as both a thought shaper as well as an entrepreneur in this space. And I'm hoping that each of you, and many of you are already there crushing it, but my hope is that many of you could learn from my experience as well as the panelists to indeed crush it as well. So let's start with introductions. The structure of today's panel will be moderated Q&A for half of the time, and then the second half will be questions from you, so get your questions ready. But without further ado, I'd like to introduce Paul Edmondson. He is the co-founder and CEO of HubPages, which has raised about $8 million. Correct me if I'm wrong. Paul?
Hi. Yeah, I'm Paul Edmondson. About 5 years ago, two of my colleagues at Microsoft and I, we left Microsoft to start HubPages.com. The idea was a pretty simple idea. What we wanted to do was bring together 3 things. One is we wanted to make it easy for people that didn't have technical expertise, but they had deep subject matter expertise to create a one-page topical website. The other things we wanted to provide on top of that was sophisticated search engine optimization, and lastly was monetization. So a big piece of what we've done at HubPages is bring together these types of 3 things, and we've really focused on monetization, doing a lot more in that space now. We've built extensive technologies in cross-ad network yield optimization, data services, retargeting services. We've worked with a lot of the larger buying groups. And it's going to be a big focus this year in terms of our overall product strategy, is deep integration of affiliate offers and providing great ways for users to help monetize their content. Thanks.
And we'll learn more about HubPages as the panel goes on. Next up is Jim Everingham. He's the CTO and founder of Pixazza, which has raised nearly $18 million.
Hi, yes. We founded Pixazza about 2.5 years ago and did several rounds of funding, as Chris mentioned. What our business does is we actually take a combination of affiliate links, and we put them into a platform, and we put a flow of images from publishers' websites in and allow crowdsourcers to match up by visual or exact similarity affiliate links with what people see in images on publishers' sites. We've been likened a lot to AdSense, but for images, whereas Google will go out and algorithmically analyze text on a page and then place relevant ads. We do that with images, but unfortunately, image recognition is probably like a 100-year problem to solve in the most abstract sense that you would need to be able to do something interesting with all of the 3 trillion images on the web. So we use human crowdsourcing, and I got experience in crowdsourcing from the previous company. I was a founder of a company called LiveOps, which I was for 7 years prior to that. And I got some experience in image recognition through speech recognition at a company called Tell.me, which I was on early. And then prior to that, I ran the browser group at Netscape of all of the versions 1 through 5 releases until we were purchased.
Awesome. Last but not least, for intros, is my good friend Ray Lyle, president of VigLink, who has secured about $2 million in financing from the likes of Google Ventures, First Round Capital, among others. Right?
Good afternoon. How's everyone doing? Thanks, Chris. So I guess I started more as a traditional affiliate marketer. My partner and I started this company out of our houses 2.5 years ago with no funding, without the heavy Silicon Valley connections as we were in Chicago. And we saw an opportunity to build a tool that basically monetizes user-generated content without changing the user experience, and plugging that into the affiliate space. So we've seen massive growth over the few years. We were profitable day 60, which was a lot of fun, but the first couple months were really rough, self-funding this and bootstrapping it. Not only maybe 18 months later, we were acquired by our Google and First Round capital-backed competitor, VigLink. So we basically merged the companies, and now I serve as the president of that company. So we now have presence within San Francisco and Chicago now, and we're continuing to grow the business out.
So let me follow up on with Jim and Ray, and then we'll get back to you, Paul, on some of your decision making as relates to monetization. But for you, Ray, so you're one of the co-founders of Driving Revenue, which was more of a niche affiliate, if I'm not mistaken, in the automotive space, among others. What was it, or what is it about automated technology, so leveraging those affiliate networks, that makes VigLink worthy of several $1 million in financing, and at least Silicon Valley's bet that somehow you guys are doing something that's innovative within the affiliate space?
Well, I think that overall, you see just the pyramid shift of eyeballs, right? So everything was content site, and then within 36 months, everything went to user-generated content. Now, within that period, the advertising technologies simply couldn't catch up, right? So we have a bunch of, some of the technologies here are trying to bridge that gap. I think that our technology makes it very easy for a publisher to basically deploy our code. It's as simple as deploying Google Analytics. It's one line of JavaScript. You get deployed on your site. And then you can put any retail you like to any retailer, like it's automatically affiliatized. And then there's, most importantly, no change to the consumer experience. So we see a lot of advertising technologies that are very consumer not friendly, right? So it's popping up things, the ad doesn't make sense, it's not coherent. This is totally seamless, so the end user doesn't see anything, but the publisher still gets credit, and it makes it very easy for the publisher as well to use.
Cool. Jim, in your case, the idea of monetizing, using affiliate strategies to monetize images, seems to me, I would have thunk that your company would have been founded way back in the infancy of the affiliate space in the late 90s. What has taken so long? You mentioned this idea of using crowdsourcing versus
Yes.
image recognition. Mm-hmm. What makes the crowdsourced approach work? And is it really, really difficult to serve accurate advertisements that are high converting, that could help folks that are affiliate marketers in this room monetize their images on their site? What's the secret sauce? Is it crowdsourcing?
Sure.
Or?
Yeah, well, actually, it is crowdsourcing is the secret sauce. We discovered a couple of things. One, people make purchases, and the type of affiliate links that we work with best are products. People usually get interested in something because they see it visually. And something like 40% of the real estate on the web is image-based, and it hasn't changed really since the beginning of the web. Images aren't interactive, people see things that they're interested in, and then they have to go research them outside the publisher's site. So giving them the ability to get to information that they want that happens to be a product-related purchase or link is very valuable to them and the publisher. And keeping that constraints to the real estate of the image is incremental to the publisher, so it works great for them. It gets the affiliate links in front of people that are interested in the product, so it works for all of the contingencies in that respect. It hasn't been possible because, one, crowdsourcing is newer, and it's not easy to build a big scalable community. We had arguably built the largest one at LiveOps of 30,000 people working remotely, and building a community is very difficult. Getting the content and converting that to interesting data, such as tags and links of an image, is high value, and you can definitely get relevant, very relevant, human-picked ads, and that's key over algorithms, because algorithms can get very accurate, but I remember seeing George Lucas in an interview years ago talking about Star Wars and talking about all the special effects, and he said everyone had to be right, because if you just make one wrong, everyone remembers that one. Mm-hmm. So even with algorithms, you could have 95% of everything right, and that one wrong, that's going to annoy the consumers.
What is the incentive to the crowd?
Well, that's a great question. There's a couple of incentives. Well, they get paid to do it, but those aren't the people that you want to get. You want the people that are fanatics and passionate. So we're in front of publishers such as interior design, fashion, autos. So we enlist crowdsourcers that are actually fanatics and passionate about those areas. So they do it because they love it. They like being a part of a community where that they can actually converse inside our platform and share ideas. And they get to pay, they get to make money for something that they love. So,
one, before we jump to Paul, how often are you wrong, Big Link? How often are you serving? Are you sending traffic? How often are you wrong? So how good is the technology? In a short answer. Yeah. And the same thing for you, Jim. I'm just curious. You guys built this sophisticated technology. I just want to know how, from a conversion standpoint, how good it is.
I mean, I'll go first. I mean, the fun thing about working with VigLink is that all their developers are MIT, Stanford, Harvard, the smartest guys in the world, right? So they had built the Starship Enterprise, and it is pretty much flawless, where we were the scrappy affiliate marketer. So it was, to answer the question in one word, it's pretty much flawless. It always works.
But does it always work because you're sending traffic to Amazon and eBay, or are you sending it to a how deep are you sending it?
Well, I mean, we have over 10,000 affiliates, so
different advertisers.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, different merchants rather. So certainly, Amazon and eBay are always going to be the large players in the space,
but it's good. Okay. And I'd be curious once we get to Q&A if anyone in here is using any of the technology, just to share your insights. But how about for you? How good is it? How often are you wrong?
Well, there's always error.
Yeah.
So we're not always right, but it's a pretty high percentage. It's over 99% that we're getting something that the user is interested in, and then by our user experience of forcing clicks to continue to actually verify that they're getting to the information that they want, sort of makes it even more accurate. Mm-hmm. So I don't know exactly how often we're wrong, but it's not 100%.
The reason I was asking the question is because I think one of the things I've thought a lot about over the last 10 years is the available inventory that you have to monetize, the traffic that you have, and just keeping an open mind about new and innovative approaches. So I just wanted to give the audience, a sense that these might be opportunities for them to add some additional, monetization of their site. So let's get your perspective on this, Paul. I mean, you're one of the sort of legendary startup guys in the Silicon Valley. You've clearly attracted a lot of funding. You also have a background in SEO, and you're probably less of an affiliate guy and more of a guy who's looking to A/B test and do all kinds of sophisticated things to make the right decisions about how you monetize the traffic that comes into your site. So why are these guys interesting? What these guys are doing, and how do you think about monetizing web traffic for HubPages? Yeah. And give us an idea also of how much traffic you are dealing with.
Yeah, so HubPages is a top 50 website. We're over 45 million uniques a month and growing about 7 to 8% month over month. So it's growing. It's a very diverse set of traffic. So it ranges from organic gardening to Bollywood. So it's about as diverse as you can get. I think one of the most interesting things that was said, and there's a lot of commonalities between our two businesses, is that there's a community behind it, and they're doing a lot of the work and around creating value that's within the products. One of the things that we've found that I think is really interesting on HubPages today, we'll place ads. You want to call it algorithmically. We have tens, if not hundreds, of ad networks that we're optimizing every impression, every user by lots of different factors. But probably the most efficient thing that's programmed on HubPages today are the authors programming very specific offers. So for example, we have an Amazon capsule on HubPages. Someone can create an article. Let's say they're making one on bottled water. What's the freshest bottled water you can get? And they can select those products. And those products that they select and place in their pages, by far the most efficient in terms of the monetization for the real estate and the engagement by the users. So I think it's pretty fascinating that everything you can do with a lot of algorithmically driven options today, but still humans placing the offer in the page is what I see as the best performing option.
How do you avoid clutter? How do you avoid HubPages not looking like just a made-for-AdSense site?
Well, it's one of the. I think it's a challenge because everybody has a different idea. Particularly if you take a Midwestern woman in the United States who cares about, if you make $30 or $40 a month is meaningful income to her. She has a very different idea of what's a pretty page versus say a retired technophile who doesn't want any pictures, doesn't want anything on his page, just wants a blob of text. The woman will really care a lot about having spacer graphics and things like that. So beauty's in the eye of the beholder. I think it's one of the things that we try to do is create a canvas that gives them enough flexibility but without being overwhelming. And then considering user experience is one of those things like, do you cover content with pop-ups and things like that? And those are things that we tend to avoid.
Just your perspectives as well. I mean, I think in both cases, Jim, I'll just ask the question. So why does Pixazza not create clutter? What's the why is it something that is innovative and people should consider?
Well, we actually have options which the publisher can configure their user experience, and next week try to constrain the user experience by default to the real estate of the image. And we try to give it in a graduated user interface that people get hints on what they can do as to not cover it until that there is a very a gesture that we're sure about that they're requesting information. So we do our best in that case. There's nothing you can do to reduce clutter because exactly what Paul said is the beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And if you're giving people information that they want, it's not clutter. But as soon as you're giving them information that they don't want, it is. So it's a very hard thing to measure. Yeah. But it's an interesting. It's something we talk about quite a bit internally.
Ray?
Well, it's interesting from our perspective as our technology is almost somewhat invisible. It really runs behind the scenes. We get this question every week. A publisher will take our code, they'll install it, and they'll call us up, and they'll be screaming at us like, "This doesn't work." We're like, "Okay, well, why doesn't it? Why are you saying that?" I'm like, "Well, we don't see anything. We don't." It's like, "Well, you're not supposed to see anything," and they're like, "Oh, now we get it." There's that aha moment. So, and we've kind of every product that we've put out onto the marketplace. Put into the marketplace, we've tried to have that same perspective of, we kind of grew the business out of the forum space, and they're very vocal, especially if you bring some intrusive advertising unit in, they're going to let you know, as opposed to a content site where you can basically do whatever you want, and users may just go away, but they're not going to post about how terrible it is. So we've been very cognizant of that, and really. The mantra of driving revenue was always, pioneering consumer-friendly monetization. So really trying to figure out how to make publishers money without upsetting the user base.
Paul, coming back to you. So, I mean, you started to kind of outline your decision making, but can you go into some more detail about how you guys are making decisions to go with, say, a Pixazza versus a VigLink versus a Google AdSense versus embedding an affiliate offer on your own? What are some of the techniques and strategies, and how sophisticated is it or isn't it?
Yeah. So on the affiliate side is really it's about creating tools for the authors to program into their site, and we leave it up to the author too. It's one of the areas that we see that it's probably the fastest growing category on HubPages is largely driven by the tools that we create for them. So to give you an example again with Amazon is we created used to just be able to pick a product or do a search and add a little widget to your page. And then we created some very light tools around writing a description, giving you a few more formatting options and being able to add a little bit richer information and organizing the things a little bit better. And that, when authors had the opportunity to do that, it grew over 6x over the last 12 months. So just shopping revenue from affiliate offers. When it comes down to ad networks, we look at, there's a couple dimensions that really matter when it comes to optimizing ad networks. We're large AdSense users as well as lots of other ad networks, and so there's a set of rules that are driven behind all these different ad networks. Are there a lot of AdSense publishers out here in the room today? Just curious, are there people out here that are actually using online ad networks to monetize their sites? A handful of you guys? So there's a few more that keep coming up there. So AdSense is a fantastic ad network, and I think it's the strongest. And from all the data we see, it's getting stronger than all the other ad networks at a pretty rapid clip. But there's certain limitations. So a lot of publishers have a 3-ad limitation. So if you want 4 ads, you got to figure out which 3 ads should AdSense go in, and then what is the 4th to place. So placement's a large dimension that we optimize across. The other one is geography. Certain ad networks do a lot better at monetizing UK and Canadian traffic. So people, if you're using, say, Olive Media in the UK is pretty strong. It's better than, say, ad.com. So you have to make decisions by geography. And then the last 2 that I think are really important, one is the referring source of traffic. So if anyone's ever run any test around monetizing, say, AdSense from someone that comes from natural search versus somebody that's browsed from Facebook, they have very different engagement characteristics with the ads, and the monetization differs dramatically. So if you can look at your source of referrers and make a decision to give the search traffic AdSense and, say, the social traffic to one of the more display-oriented ad networks, that's a big lever as well.
I have 2 more questions, and then we're going to take it from us talking to each other to you guys kind of asking questions. So get your questions ready. The first question is, Ray, so how, in many ways, you guys are like almost like a sub-network of these, I'm sure you're pulling your offers from Commission Junction and Linkshare and others. What, I guess, can you talk a little bit about how many publishers are in this room? How many of you are advertisers? Okay, so it's mostly publishers. How could they make money using your technology?
Well, our premise of our technology is it makes it a lot easier for all the publishers to do affiliate marketing. So in theory, anyone in this room could do exactly what we're doing. However, it would take you forever to do. So for instance, the process, as you guys, most of you know, of taking a retail link and then swapping it out for an affiliate link, finding the right affiliate network that it belongs to, and then actually posting it is a very tedious process. So what our technology does is it automatically knows what affiliate network that retail link is supposed to go to and automatically affiliatizes it. So it gives the publisher more time to work on what's most important, which is producing content rather than trying to figure out how to affiliatize things. And not only we do that, but the technology is seamless, so there is no redirect. So at least it's not apparent that there's a redirect. So there's no very odd link to a Best Buy. It just says bestbuy.com or the retail link. So it's a much better consumer experience for the users. But really, it saves a lot of time. And then because we manage all of these programs, all these publishers, of course, we get paid out at a better tier as well. So that also helps with the cut that we take. So so the publishers actually they actually make money by using us, and it makes it basically an impossible task possible.
Mm-hmm. It's VIG, V-I-G, V-I-G-L-I-N-K. And Jim, how about you as well? What is the what's the value to the 100 or so publishers in the room who just raised their hand?
Sure. Yeah. There's a couple of different values. One, first we install our technology and we start sending you checks. That's at the simplest answer, but our technology is very easy to install. It's one line of script, just as you would install Google Analytics, put it in your header or footer. Then you can go into our interface and configure it however you would like. There's a couple of different offerings that we have, including crowdsourced product placement inside images, all the way to we also power Google AdSense using the context of the image that is generated from tags that our crowdsource use to actually do an overlay on the image on mouse over. These actually perform really well, so it's very easy to install. And oh, there's one other offering that we do have, which is a automatically generated product guide for your site that takes all of the crowdsourced data from the images combined with the associated links and creates deep link product pages that become like a product guide for your site if you have one that would make sense for that to have. This generates, it's been optimized for the search engine, so it generates natural search traffic. They get incredibly high RPMs because we're getting users directly to the information they want from Google Natural Search or Yahoo.
So my final question for you guys is, how do you attract capital? How do you attract the interest of some of the cash that you guys have raised? We'll start with you.
Yeah, raising money is hard, right? Really, really hard. So, just a little. Our story on HubPages is we had been part of a previous successful startup, and we were at Microsoft with reasonable experience in building consumer products. Knew quite a few people in the Valley. We actually in Seattle, but decided to move back to the Valley because that's where the majority of the money is. It's easier to do it there. We moved into a garage. We left, so just to give you a sense of what we did. I had a brand new baby. My two co-founders were just getting engaged to get married. We all moved into a house that was under construction. There's like, I probably have cancer from asbestos because it was like falling down all around us. And we sat in this garage day and night. We slept on like, mats, and we had a cat that peed on our sleeping bags, and it was, it wasn't very glamorous. And we worked really, really hard around the clock to build V1 of the site. And we took a very conservative, because it wasn't the point that we were in a personal financial positions where we didn't really have to go to that extreme. But it's also kind of the type of people we are. So we did that for 7 months. We basically built V1, and then we went out and raised our first $2 million, which was pre-launch. There's two inflection points in a company. There's one where you're kind of raising on the dream. So just to give you a sense of, we raised on the dream, like we built the product, and we were lucky enough to get a couple venture guys that were willing to put some money in, and ultimately went with Hummer Winblad, who's a fantastic early stage venture fund. And then we launched, and man, 1,500 people used HubPages the first month. I don't know if any of you guys have tried to make a living or support San Francisco Bay Area engineers on 1,500 visitors to a consumer UGC website. It's not pretty. So we basically, from there, we were able to, I think you raise money before you actually have real metrics, because you're selling that dream.
Nothing destroys a good business like real numbers.
Yeah. And then the second one is when the business is growing and you've kind of proven it, and that's when you go around. I'd give two pieces of advice if people are out there trying to go raise money. One is, I would say, get a Bay Area attorney that's well connected if you don't have current contacts. And most of the other guys that I know that I'm always happy to, if someone's got a business idea and who says, hey, I really want to meet some VC guys, and I'm happy to sort of vet it and pass it on. But the getting an attorney that can connect you and help you through that initial process I think is a great way to start.
Yeah, so thanks. And Jim, in your case, I mean, you guys have raised a colossal $18 million. In a minute or less, what are some tips for the audience here?
A minute or less, come on.
Well, I want to give them as much time as possible.
Sure, absolutely. Well, first off, yeah, we raised a couple of rounds. We've raised a total of somewhere close to 18 million. Previous company we did close to 100 million. And the one before that was 250 million.
You could have 2 minutes. You could have 2 minutes.
Anyway,
so how do you attract that kind of money?
Well, look, first, like Silicon Valley is a lot like Hollywood. You're always as good as your last movie. So as long as you keep making money for VCs, they're going to keep reinvesting. But getting that first VC, that takes some work. In under a minute, I'm going to try and do it. But the best thing is to keep going to some networking functions in the Valley and ask for advice, and to go around and speak with as many VCs and ask what they're looking for. The second thing is to assemble a great team, a really good technology team, somebody with some experience. And if you don't have that, you have to have a prototype that's getting some traction. So if you keep selling on the dream, like he said, is exactly what you need to do all the way through an IPO. I mean, what does Silicon Valley create? Do we create technology? No, we actually create stock, honestly, if you want me to get right down to it. And what is stock? It's a story, and you just can't answer how big can it get. As soon as someone answers how big can it get, you're dead. So, I mean, I remember when Google was hitting 700 a share. Or were they too expensive? I don't know. How big can they get? So you have to keep a good story, and then if you can show traction on that story, then you're going to get follow-on investments. I would argue, though, people always say, oh, you've raised so much money, you must really... It's like, no, I'm a horrible entrepreneur. The good one is the guy that raised $2 million and made $1 billion company. So raise as little money as possible, but don't hurt yourself.
Awesome. Ray, so you were acquired by, they came to you, right? But since you've been with VigLink now for how long?
About 4 or 5 months now.
what perspective, and you already had said to the audience that you're more of an affiliate marketer. You're not a Silicon Valley, native, what could you share from your perspective? How did you get noticed, and how could they get noticed?
Yeah, it's a funny story. When we started the company, we actually talked to Google, and a very, very senior person at Google, who was one of the probably top 20 founders there, said, it was a terrible idea, right? And the irony is, 2 years later, they funded a company to compete with us, and then turned by us. But personally, I put my financial self at a huge risk. We started this company. I was presented with the idea. My business partner had the idea. I had all the affiliate connections. I quit my job. Luckily, I didn't have kids or family to support, but I did have a pretty expensive house and a car, and I didn't have any savings like every bachelor, right? So I had cut it really thin. I had cut it so thin that their repo man was looking for my car, and I was 3 months behind on my house, and like my phone, I would just shut off because every bill collector would be calling nonstop. Not only that, trying to run a business. So I'm working 18 hours a day, not making any money, but I knew the money was coming, and thank God it came like at the last hour. But at the same time, we had people that were trying to invest in us. We had like these small people, some of our publishers were trying to give us a couple $100,000, $500,000 to buy in. And here I am, I can't eat, and I'm passing up a check for $500,000 because I think that, in 60 days I'll be okay. Luckily, it played out that way. And so we kind of took the approach that, we're cash flow positive, and we're going to keep our mouth shut, and we're going to keep on growing the business while our competitors would go out there and be backed. The interesting thing, there's an old saying, the companies in the Valley are usually not profitable, and the profitable companies are in Rockford, Illinois, or some small town that you've never even heard of, and they're just killing it because they are profitable, and they keep their mouth shut, and they just. But it's a different model. It's a cash business. So now, since being acquired by VakeLink, it's a different story. Now it's more about the overall potential, like what could we grow this business to? So it's no longer like, hey, we have to worry about kind of cash and being profitable. It's more like, hey, we need to have money, we need to raise, we need to make the connections to grow this into a giant business. So it's interesting to see both sides of the story.
Awesome. First question. We have a roving microphone. So who you are, your name, company, and your favorite color.
Okay, I'll start. Pink/fuchsia. My name is Edmondson Kendall, and for this question, the context is as a publisher, and the question is for Paul of HubPages. So, Paul, if I'm someone with lots of content, I'm going to be thinking about publishing on a bunch of different platforms, right? Maybe if I'm pretty credentialed or whatnot, I might become an about.com guide. I might decide if I'm a little bit lower brow, I might go and just start a WordPress blog and whatnot. And in that consideration set, HubPages is going to fall into one of my options. And so as a user, I could see that maybe having the spacer graphics or other functionality that you've introduced is going to be the thing that tips me over to HubPages. So the question is really about getting into the mindset of your writers. To what degree are they swayed by the actual functional offerings that you have versus, what is my average revenue per 1,000 page views? Like, how sophisticated are they? And you mentioned earlier in your intro, you're going to really start focusing on monetization and optimizing, like the yield optimization. Mm-hmm. And are you doing that precisely because you find more writers asking for that?
Yeah. So one of the reasons we think HubPages has exceeded in the space, it's incredible. You just outlined it. There's tons and tons of choices. It's probably the most competitive business, in the world in terms of publishing tools today. It's right up there. So the one thing that I think we do really well at HubPages is we really listen to our users well. And first and foremost, HubPages is a community. It's one of the things that people on the outside don't often get. They kind of look at it and they say, wow, there's just this tons of content ranging all over the board, and am I making a personal decision? But a lot of people come to HubPages because they're interested in getting started. A lot of people stay because they get hooked on the community. A on the monetization side, it's one of the areas that people have just asked for when we go out and we talk to them right now. They say, hey, we want more options. And we see what's working now. We've got a lot of data. So that's why we're investing in that space. I don't know if I fully answered your question, but the reason HubPages also does well is because when you're part of a community, it's we've run numerous tests here. I don't know, anyone started a blog here? Yeah. I'm just curious. Anyone started it? Are you still writing it, or did you stop it? So one of the things that happens we see with writers all the time is they come in and they'll start blogs, and they'll go to WordPress, they'll go to Blogspot, they'll go to Tumblr. There's Posters, you name it. But what happens is when you're not part of a site that's constantly keeping fresh content coming in, that traffic, you tend to have a curve that goes like this. You get a little traffic front, and then it drops. And if you're trying to get natural search traffic, the chances are that if you haven't stuck with this for years, that you're never going to crack through that and start getting natural search traffic. When you're on HubPages, you're part of a community that keeps that site living and breathing every day. There's 13,000 pieces of unique content and growing like crazy every single day that's getting published on HubPages. And so what we're finding is that people that are really sophisticated in understanding their analytics, they're actually saying today they start their content businesses there because they realize they get more traffic. They can have they don't have to keep adding fresh content all the time. They get some of the other benefits that's part of being a community member provides than being on your own.
Sorry, this is just a quick follow-on. What percentage of your users are uniquely publishing on HubPages versus redundant, like it's a secondary outlet for them?
That's a really good question. I don't know. We know our authors publish all over the place. I will tell you this is the top couple percentile on HubPages account for a ton of the success. So there's a big curve in terms of what those power users do.
Next question. Your name, where you're from, and if you have a dog, what's his or her name?
I have a cat. Her name is Tallulah. Okay. My name is Sarah Purcell. Right now, I am an affiliate marketer. I do have a business plan and an amazing business partner who is amazing with Java and CSS, and that's not my specialty. But when you talk about assembling a sharp tech team, what else, as far as assembling an initial team, what members of that team would you?
I'll just jump in really. I have a quick comment to that. So I get this question all the time. It's like, hey, my best friend and I are going to start this company, and they're both like outgoing girls or outgoing guys, and they both have the same skill set. So it's like, okay, well, first of all, don't go in business with your own friends. Don't pick, usually. But you have to find people who have the opposite skill set, right? So, and especially when you're trying to create a really lean team in the beginning, right? So if you're good at content and if you're good at the affiliate side, then you need to find a partner that can code, right? And just having that is a good complement. But beyond that, then it kind of gets a little bit more complicated. But it's good to initially just bring someone in that has a completely different skill set that kind of rounds out what your company's going to try to do.
Thank you.
Next question. Next question. There's got to be another question in this room. No? Okay. So from my perspective, I think one of the takeaways is that traditional affiliate marketing, the big three networks, if you will, or I should say the big 4 or 5, right? A lot of the affiliate marketers in the room probably rely on them. Paul, you were mentioning before that, you're looking at display, you're looking at contextual. Of course, you guys represent other options. Is there anything? Is it a hard metric like a CTR, a certain metric that you're looking at that makes the decision whether to go with an affiliate offer over a display or over a contextual?
Oh, That's a really interesting question. The way we look at monetization across HubPages is we break it down. So HubPages is fairly broad: question and answer, forums, profile pages, and hubs. We break all our revenue down to revenue per 1,000 hubs, and then we break it down by category. So there are categories that we've identified that we think would monetize a lot better today with affiliate offers, and even saying what CJ said is they'd be a lot better monetized with affiliate offers placed by people, and so that's really how we think about it. So we take all that revenue and we look at there's 6,000. We have 6,000 different slices of HubPages, different categories and growing, and then we look at the RPMs in those categories and try to match up where the opportunities are for affiliate offers to be in there.
Mm-hmm.
So,
do you only use, Jim, do you only use affiliate offers, or is there other?
No, we use other offers as well. In fact, we're also an affiliate network ourselves, just like Commission Junction, Linkshare, Google Affiliate, but we do integrate them as well. We, in combination with how the publisher configures, with how the crowdsourcer decides to choose, which is based a lot on the information provided by the affiliate program, to come up with an end result. But, you know, we sit in front of a lot of traffic. We see a lot of different types of publishers. It's, you know, the technology, when we're on a site, technology seems to work better on the publishers who really focus on a great consumer experience. We definitely see a lot of publishers that look like they're trying to monetize their site every which way, sideways you can imagine. Well, they'll install 80 to 100 different types of technology and networks where it takes 2 minutes to load their page. We definitely see a higher success rate from our technology, and I imagine that ours isn't unique in that respect for the publishers that really concentrate on a nice, clean user experience.
Is there anyone in the room that's concerned about a VigLink or a Pixazza? Is there anyone that thinks that this isn't a step in the right direction for the affiliate industry? Anyone? Show of hands. The only reason I ask is because I spoke on a panel with VigLink in New York, and there were a couple of outspoken people who were trying to make the argument that what they were doing wasn't the right direction, but nobody feels that way. Absolutely.
I don't think they're doing anything.
Where you're from, your name,
my name is
and the
Roy
last book,
Weissman.
and the last book you read.
The last book I read, I'm a periodical reader.
Okay.
I read the Wall Street Journal.
Okay.
But I'm from New York, and my name is Roy Weissman. But
Thank you.
I think everything they're doing is exactly what technology and the internet is about, making efforts more efficient. You know, one of the biggest problems with the affiliate marketplace is these complicated links. You spend copy, paste, and then it might not be right, and if you put it in wrong, it's like, you know, when there's really two factions of people, well, there's many factions, but two. You have your business people and you have your technical people. Technical people can copy and paste links all day. They think it's better than sliced bread. Business people, one copy and paste, it's painful. So, but the business people are trying to be strategic, and everybody is. How can I grow my business faster, and how can I focus on new strategies and new ideas? And the more tools you have that are efficient and reliable to do this, it gives you more options to be creative, to find new ways to grow the business. So I can, as a business person, understand why everybody from the merchants to the affiliates wouldn't be delighted, because if you make something easier, you make something, the more money everybody can make. So I can't see there be a negative. The only negative would be, you know, if the tools don't develop, or if the merchants make it harder, or if they put more conditions or more issues or more fees, or they put obstacles in the way. If everybody works together and makes it a seamless transition, it's only going to make everybody more money. That's just my take on it.
I like this guy.
Yeah, what periodicals are you reading? I want some of those.
Question in the back of the room? Let's see, I did the book. Well, you get the book one. So your name, where you're from, and the last vacation that you've taken. Just where?
Michelle Hall McCaffrey from Vancouver, BC. Last vacation was San Diego. My question is, you mentioned AdSense and Olive Media for UK. What was the one for Canada?
I said Olive Media for Canada.
Oh, for Canada. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
I think there's another question right back there, sir.
I'll tell you an interesting fact that Canadian CPMs are beating US CPMs now. I don't know how many people know that, but I find that fascinating.
Just on Revenue Apex LA, my question's around metrics and benchmarks. I know you obviously can't share projections and where you're tracking. Many of us here run co-reg paths. We know that if we hit $1 on a co-reg path, we're happy. A lot of emailers in the house. They know what type of metrics they're getting. What do you look at for like ARPU type of metrics or revenue per transaction or revenue per user within the respective industry or within the respective groups here? And you know, to the degree that you can share, where are you at or where do you hope to be, or maybe you can genericize the numbers if you can't share specifics.
Yeah, I'll start there. HubPages will do between $9 and $10 million in gross revenue this year, and the revenue per 1,000 hubs, per 1,000 hub views, so those are our article views, is right between $12 and $15 today. Just you know, on the content side, most of that's, you know, it's about 70% natural search traffic.
Guys?
Well, yeah, that's a more complicated question for me to answer because I get my technology stands in front of publishers that are all over the world. So we measure, the way that we measure our revenue for, or we add incremental, is by a revenue per engagement of that publisher's user into our technology. You know, it's potentially an RPM. We see everything from a 30-cent RPM all the way up to $120 RPM. So there's not, it just depends on where the publisher is, the type of the content, the type of images, how big they are, what type of products are being placed, and how they configure it. So.
Ray, do you have anything to say on that?
Yeah, you know, with our core product, because we don't change the direction of where the publisher or the user has chosen that retail link to go to, we're somewhat crippled in what we can do, right? So part of the levers that we have is overall merchant coverage and negotiating stronger deals with the merchants to then pass that down onto the publishers. Besides that, we don't currently take an Amazon link and send it to eBay because we know we can make more money on eBay, hypothetically. So.
Any final questions? Okay, you know, we appreciate your time. Everyone, as you walked in, should have been given an evaluation form. Just go ahead and take that and circle the 5 for all of the answers. Or I'm sorry, the questions. No, I'm kidding. Fill that out, take the time now, and hand it on the way out. Enjoy the rest of the conference. I believe there's a keynote that is up in just a couple of minutes. Have safe flights home or safe drives home wherever you are, and hope to see you at Affiliate Summit East. Thank you.